Hey guys and girls, Neil Hill here, and I'm actually speaking to you all from Rome. So I'm actually currently in Rome. I'm here with my sponsors, Yamamoto Nutrition. It's great for me to be back here in Rome and obviously in Italy. This is the home and where Yamamoto was formed and founded and where they are as a company. So it's great for me to be here in this amazing country, this amazing city. And the reason why I'm jumping on here today is because I just wanted to firstly reach out and say to everybody who is celebrating or showing their mark of respect to a really good message and cause, and that is basically the holy month. So I know that Muslims and people in general show their respect in different ways, and also understand that people have different beliefs. And for myself, I believe as long as you have a good heart and you have good intentions, and you treat people with respect, it doesn't necessarily matter what your religion is. I feel the most important thing is that your intentions towards your fellow humans, male or female, children, loved ones, black, white, or whatever our religious colors are, as long as our intentions and our respect is forthcoming in a positive way, then that is obviously a very positive thing. So the reason I wanted to speak and talk about this Instagram to this evening is because firstly, as I said, for those of you which are celebrating a mark of respect, because when I say obviously celebration, it's not necessarily a celebration in the sense of from past. You've seen in past history where people have obviously had to go without and gone through hunger and pain and all those things. And I know that obviously, Muslims are very religious and very passionate about their beliefs and views. I've seen it when I've been in the Middle East, and I've had some amazing experiences throughout all the Middle East. Nothing but really good experiences, amazing memories, and also it's been great for me to experience different cultures and see how people celebrate their religious belief. But I wanted to speak about Ramadan, the holy month, and I'm just going to give you my input and view on you guys and girls which are going to be going through holy month, on how I feel that you can potentially optimize and hold on to your muscle tissue and not necessarily gain body fat, and also have some form of positive impact on your hormonal responses whilst going through holy month. So I know that obviously you have restricted hours that you can eat, and I do believe that some form of intermittent fasting, I'm not an expert on this by any means, I do feel that intermittent fasting potentially can have some very positive influences and changes taking place on the human body as far as cleansing internally and forcing and creating a very positive hormonal response if you optimize and implement Ramadan or fasting in a positive way. And what I mean by that is that you obviously have hours that you're unable to drink and unable to eat, and then you have obviously hours that you are able to eat and you are able to drink water. Now, your body is very intelligent. It's also very sensitive, and your body is very alert into how we live our lives as far as food and fluid is concerned. Everything about our bodies react from some form of hormonal response, and how we eat and our eating habits can change multiple different areas of our hormonal responses when it comes to food choices and eating habits. Just because us as people eat certain foods throughout the day, so for instance, just because I am not going through a fasted state when it comes to Ramadan, and I'm eating generally from say 7 or 8 p.m. a.m. until maybe 8, 9, 10 p.m. at night, it doesn't mean that that is an optimal environment for me to build muscle tissue and lose body fat. The most important thing is that first of all, you must embrace the mark of respect that you're showing towards your religion, and that's obviously what you're doing, going through the holy month and showing your mark of respect as far as going through what is something which is very personal to you. But what you do need to do in those hours that you are able to eat, I highly suggest that you do drink your fluids and you do eat meals. So, for instance, you have a restricted time where you're unable to eat, and then you have obviously a time where you are able to eat. That time period that you are able to eat, I would try to make sure you're getting anywhere between 3 and 5 meals in throughout that evening period. So when I say evening, it's obviously evening and also through the night. So what I would suggest you guys and girls do is I would definitely suggest that you make sure that you choose a quality protein source. And the amount of protein you consume obviously is going to go hand in hand with a number of different things. It's going to go hand in hand with your body's ability to digest a certain amount of protein per meal. It's going to also be relatable to your lean muscle mass. It's also going to be relatable to the demands that you put on your human body as far as some form of physical exercise. So if your physical exercise is very small and very limited, then your need for protein is obviously going to be lesser. However, if you're physical and you're creating an environment where you're breaking down muscle tissue, and as long as your digestive system is in check, and depending on how much muscle that you're consuming will depend on the amount of protein that you potentially could consume per meal. I also very much a big advocate of carbohydrates and also healthy fats. Now, some people may be carb sensitive, some people may not necessarily be carb sensitive, but I would advise you guys and girls to be consuming good quality fats, good quality fibrous carbs, okay? Because that's also going to aid and help with digestion in general, and it's also going to slow down your digestive system in a positive way. And what I mean by that is that fibrous carbs have the ability and tendency to allow your body to utilize and extract more of the nutrients which we're consuming from our macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbohydrates. So what I would do typically is I would suggest you trying to make sure you consume 4 meals a day. So if this was me personally and I was going through Holy Month, and just say for instance I'm 200 pounds and I'm carrying say 20 pounds of body fat, then I would be consuming anywhere between 4 and 5 meals, probably about 4. And what I would do as soon as my fasting had ended in that evening, then I would consume roughly about 200 grams of cooked weight protein. That could come from, I said cooked weight, not 200 grams of protein. So I might consume roughly about 45 to 50 grams of protein through the form of chicken, for example. I would maybe consume roughly about 50 grams of complex carbs, and I would also consume a certain portion of fibrous vegetables, which may be 75 to 80 grams of green beans, and I would also consume some healthy fats, probably about 15 to 20 grams of healthy fats. And those fats could come from avocado, they could come from nuts, they could come from a really good quality extra virgin olive oil. And again, that's just an example. All right, I would obviously consume fluid as well. I would try to make sure I get about a liter of fluid in with me. Then about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I would eat very similar again. But what I would do, once my fasting started, I'd have my first meal, then I would go to bed. Then I would wake up roughly about an hour and a half later, then to 2 hours. Then I'd wake up, then I'd eat exactly similar. Then I would go back to bed. Then I'd wake up about an hour and a half later, and I'd have exactly the same again. Then I would go back to bed, and then I would duplicate that again. Now, I'm not saying that your protein source and your complex carbohydrate source and your fibrous carbs should come from the same food type every time you eat. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I am suggesting that you look at introducing and eating a healthy, balanced, macronutrient value type of carbohydrate, proteins and fats, and fibrous carbs at different times. Now, your window of opportunity is small as far as those eating habits are concerned. But if you think about this logically, guys and girls, most of us will work a 9 to 5 job, which means that from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock we're working, okay? Most of us, on average, probably wake up at 7 a.m. and go to bed at maybe 11 p.m. at night, which means that we're basically sleeping for roughly 8 hours. So we're actually eating for 8 hours. So in that 8 hour period, we're indirectly fasting. But we're not necessarily fasting. Why? Because those macronutrients and those key nutrients that we're consuming, they're being broken down and they're being drip fed into our bodies, and they're being absorbed, whether it's through the mitochondria, whether it's through our liver. We're storing protein, nitrogen, we're storing carbohydrates, whether it's in the form of glycogen or whether we're holding and housing that in our mitochondria or our liver. We're also having a placement of healthy fats again. So these foods that we consume from 7 a.m. until maybe 10 p.m. at night, they're filtrating into our body. We're consuming food maybe every 2.5 to 3 hours normally, most of us in the daytime. So all you're actually doing is you're reversing the process. So it's very similar to the environments that we go through. When we're working in the daytime and we're eating through the daytime, we're resting and we're fasting at night. What you're indirectly is you're creating and turning around that environment where you are now fasting in the day and you are eating through the evening. Now, I'm not saying that this is optimal and you will not lose muscle tissue. And I'm not saying this is optimal and you won't lose or gain body fat. But your eating habits through your fasted state are really important, that you are consuming some really good balanced macronutrients through the form of carbohydrates, fats and protein. Now, some people may decide to go through the lifestyle habit through your fasted state and say, hey, do you know what? I'm actually just going to rely on my fats, my fibrous carbs and my protein, and I'm going to keep my carbohydrates very, very small. So you're indirectly going through some form of a ketogenic state. That is not something that I would really advise for you guys and girls which are looking to train and build muscle. I also highly suggest that your key essential minerals and vitamins are very high. I also highly suggest your essential salts are very high. So stay away from processed salts, stay away from those refined salts and sugars. Make sure that the salt and essential minerals and vitamins that you're consuming are coming from a really good source. So I'm a big advocate of Himalayan pink salt. Now, Himalayan pink salt, or salt in general, is an essential mineral which is highly important when it comes to aiding hormonal response, recovery, positive muscle contraction. It also plays a big part with the central nervous system when it comes to actively sensing stress and load, in the same way all those essential minerals as well are. So it's really important that you guys and girls supplement your food with a very, very good quality essential mineral, vitamin, etc. Yes, we know that obviously our foods or certain foods that we consume are going to be high in those type of nutrients or macronutrients. But unfortunately, most of our vitamins and minerals come through the form of some form of soil-based product. And unfortunately, because of mass production today, our bioavailable, or the amount of vitamins and essential minerals that we have in the foods that we consume today is very, very small. So unfortunately, in a lot of cases, it is advisable for you to pick and choose a really good quality multivitamin and multi-mineral, and I highly suggest that you probably increase that more so whilst you're going through Ramadan. Do not neglect your water. Unfortunately, it means that through the hours that you are able to eat, then you are going to have interrupted sleep. But believe you me, after a number of days, your body will get used to this. You have to create a new environment. You now have to get your body to do what you want it to do, instead of your body forcing and discipline in itself to do something that it's not meant to. As far as cardio is concerned, I do feel that you can do cardio. I see no reason why not, but you also have to bear in mind that you're going to possibly be in a deficit of calories. You're possibly going to be in a deficit of calories through a fasted state. But you could still build muscle tissue potentially. As far as your cardio is concerned, I wouldn't necessarily, you guys and girls, do HIIT style cardio whilst you're going through a fasted state. Now, there is argument to say that as long as you're consuming all the key macronutrient values that you need to make sure that you're in an active hormonal positive anabolic state, and you're creating a really positive environment as far as protein synthesis and hormonal responses taking place. So whether that is testosterone, whether it's IGF-1, whether it's growth hormone, these things are obviously natural hormones which are taking place. Also, you could potentially create a really good anabolic response as far as releasing natural insulin, and obviously that is going to be based around the foods that you're eating. So what I would say to you guys and girls is embrace, in Ramadan, embrace Holy Month, because I think that it's amazing, and I think it's hugely respected that you believe in something. It's your way of actually showing your mark of respect to your beliefs. I am a Christian. I wouldn't say that I go to church, because I don't, but I believe in something. Just because I'm a Christian, it doesn't mean that my beliefs are more important than somebody else's. I feel that, as I said, us as people believing in something, as long as it's positive, is a really positive thing. I've been to Saudi Arabia. I've been to Dubai. I have been to Kuwait. And I have witnessed and seen with my own eyes the real passion and love that Muslims and everybody celebrates and shows a mark of respect in all of those countries. And I find it fascinating. I find it extremely, extremely refreshing. I feel that it's a shame, because I feel that in some ways the world is lost. In some ways, that the world is a sad place. In some ways, I feel that war and confliction taking place around the world is a pretty sad place, and unfortunately, for 99% of us who live in this world, we get caught up in the conflict and crossfire of political wars. We should not be fighting over religion. We should not be believing that we are a senior race wherever we live in the world. To me, as long as we have good hearts and good intentions, and we show each other respect, because we all know what's right and wrong. We all know what we believe is right and wrong, okay? Yes, that could be brought up by good parenting and things like that. But my point is that my experiences that I've had by traveling throughout the whole of the Middle East or some of the countries in the Middle East have been amazing. I'm looking forward to going back to Dubai. I'm really looking forward to going to Iran. I'm looking forward to going to, or I'm looking forward to experiencing all these new countries throughout the Middle East and embracing the culture and everything that goes on between. So I hope that my information has, brought some light into to you guys and girls, which are going to be celebrating and going through the holy month. As I said to you, please, the most important thing is that you don't neglect meal frequency. Embrace it. Make sure you are eating, I said, anywhere between 4 and 5 meals throughout that period that you can eat. Some people might say, hey, is there anything wrong with me eating 3 meals a day if I increase my macronutrient value? So in other words, I'm going to eat 3 meals a day, and I'm going to consume 75 grams of protein in every meal. This is an example, and I'm going to consume anywhere between 50 and 100 grams of complex carbs in every meal, and I'm going to consume maybe 20 to 30 grams of essential fats in every meal, and I'm also going to have a certain amount of fibrous carbs in every meal. But I'm only going to eat 3 meals a day. Is that something which is going to be beneficial? Yes, it's going to be massively beneficial in some way as far as impacting your blood work. But do I think that is optimal? No, I would try to consume about 4 meals, maybe 5 at the most. But you also have to bear in mind that your digestive system is going to be pretty taxed if you're eating 6, 7, 8 meals in a very short window. So you need to make sure that you're cleansing your body, making sure your digestive system is cleansed, it's efficient. Make sure you're taking your digestive enzymes, you're cleansing your gut, that you are neutralizing your gut before you start eating, all right? Because throughout the day when you're fasting, you're potentially going to get a lot of acidity. Make sure you get that fluid in. And that is my advice that I can give you guys and girls. I have athletes and clients all around the world which are going through Holy Month, and I really feel very passionate, to all my clients around the world, which are obviously going through that fasted state at the moment. I will check in with all you guys and girls in a couple of days' time, because obviously I want to hear some feedback from you. If anybody's got any questions on this, I'll do my very, very best to answer those. There's a lot of questions coming up here at the moment. Let me see if I can answer some of these. So what about carbs in the morning, Neil? Well, Leah, if we're talking about carbs obviously when you wake up first in the morning, yes, I see no reason why you can't consume carbs. There are some people who are going to debate, and also remember, this is me giving my opinion on this, okay? There are going to be other people which have other views, but I see no reason why you potentially can't eat carbs when you wake up in the morning before you start your holy fasted hour. Okay, as far as the type of carbohydrate, maybe it could be cream of rice, maybe it could be oatmeal. That's just an example. So hopefully that's that. Do you recommend training with heavy weight, or does it matter to build muscle? If you're asking me this question, would I suggest you guys training super heavy and high intensity, low rep training while you're going through fasted state? That's going to depend on the amount of good quality macronutrients and calories that you're able to consume whilst you are eating in those hours. I'd probably say use Holy Month as a little bit of a deload month. So it means instead of trying to beat personal bests in the gym, concentrate on contraction, getting that mind-muscle connection, and using them as priming workouts and creating some form of stimulus. Don't look at trying to maximize muscle fiber breakdown and trying to maximize all types of different hypertrophy, because I think that you need to be a little bit cautious. So I would suggest that your training intensity probably backs off a little bit. But remember, if you can create some form of positive stimulus in the gym, and then you're obviously feeding your body with those key nutrients, and of course you can really maximize that recovery period after training by making sure you get some really good bioavailable supplementation in. So for myself, I would highly recommend for you guys and girls which are trying to replenish your carbohydrates after workout to get highly branched cytodextrin. That's one of my favorite products as far as a carbohydrate is concerned. Massive advocator in hydrolyzed whey, whether it's casein based or whether it's whey based, making sure obviously you replenish your body as far as with the vitamins and minerals. And you could also use some creatine as well, because that's going to help drive those nutrients further into the muscle potentially. But remember, in order to maximize that response as far as insulin is concerned, you're going to need some form of hormonal response taking place, where it's obviously being impacted through some form of carbohydrate. If protein makes gout disease in blood, how much would you recommend building muscle or same? I can't answer that, my friend. I'm not an expert. I'm a tool. Anyway. Love from Egypt, thank you. Do you recommend training during fasted? Yeah, I think I just answered that. I do, but use it as a little bit of a deload, okay? Anyway, guys, I am going to jump off here. It's pretty late in the evening. I will come on here again, and I will do my best to make sure that I interact and answer any questions with all you guys and girls over the next Holy Month, 30 days or so. And as I said, massive respect to everybody who's going through Holy Month at the moment and showing their respect and viewpoint on celebrating Ramadan. And I appreciate all the support that I've had from all you guys and girls throughout the Middle East, and I wish you all the very best. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. It's pretty late. I'm in Rome tomorrow. I actually travel to Milan. I'm going to be in Milan tomorrow, being Thursday, Friday. I travel back from Milan to here in Rome. Then on Saturday, I am going to be hosting and holding a seminar with Dr. Gabrielle. Super excited about this, because it's my way of being able to show my experiences and my viewpoint and my life's experiences that I've learned within the industry, and also what I've learned all around the world. So I will check in with you guys every couple of days. It's very, very, very rarely that I actually do an Instagram live and I post it, but I'm actually going to post this so that everybody from the Middle East has the opportunity to look at this and view this over the next 24 hours or so. And I will probably come in here. I'll make sure that I try my best to get on here every 2 or 3 days and obviously talk about Holy Month. And or if you've got any questions, obviously I'll answer that. Remember, when we consume foods, those foods that we consume are going to create some form of hormonal response. Okay, they're going to create some form of hormonal response. Why? Because when we consume food, it impacts our blood work in some way. So whether it's a good thing or whether it's a bad thing. So our meal frequency and our meal choices are extremely important, all right, in order for us to build muscle and lose body fat. I do feel that if you are optimal with your food choices through Holy Month, you can build muscle and lose body fat. Okay, but you need to make sure that you are consuming those foods through the night. You are making sure you get that water in. All you're doing basically is you're changing your eating habits from the daytime into nighttime, and then you're eating between meals. Some people will say, hey, if I eat a meal and then I go to sleep and then I wake myself up to eat my next meal, then I'm going to impact on my growth hormone levels, because we know that growth hormone potentially is going to be transitioned, or it's going to be released in some form throughout the night hours that we sleep. Yes, but those hours that we're releasing growth hormone or growth hormone factor is very limited. We're not releasing growth hormone throughout the whole evening. We're only potentially releasing growth hormone at small amounts throughout our evening sleep. If we were to actually look how responsive, okay, and how important natural growth hormone is to our bodies as far as repair, stimulation, recovery, we can release a very small amount of growth hormone and create a very positive response. So you potentially could be positively spiking insulin. And when I mean positive, it means that you're going to get a rise slightly with your insulin when you're eating certain foods, but it's in a very controlled manner, which is going to be highly anabolic. And then on top of that, then we potentially could be spiking our growth hormone factors, which are very anabolic. We potentially could be releasing testosterone, which is hugely anabolic. All of these three hormones, in a sense, when they're working in harmony with one another, are extremely responsive for recovery, muscle building, central nervous system stability, all of these things. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. I hope this has helped a little bit. I am looking forward to jumping on you in a couple of days and answering any questions. As I said, massive respect to everybody, and I really appreciate all the support that you guys and girls have given myself and all of my athletes and team around the world. Do not think that we don't notice or we don't see. My diary this year, in 2019, I have traveled non-stop. And when I say non-stop, I mean I've literally traveled non-stop. My travel started on December the 18th when I flew from Florida and I flew back to the UK. Okay, I was in the UK. I left on the 18th, I arrived on the 19th, and then I was there until the last day of December. Then on New Year's Eve, I left the UK and I flew to Dubai. So from the very first of January, I was in Dubai, I was in India, I was in Dubai, I was in the UK, I was in the US, I was in Columbus, Ohio, I was in the UK, I was in Hong Kong, I was in Australia, I was in Korea, I was in the UK, I was in Germany, I was in the UK, I was in Egypt, and I had an amazing time in Egypt, guys, just like I did in Dubai. Egypt, UK, Italy, Florida, UK, and now I'm back here in Italy at the moment. I'll be here until Sunday. Then on Sunday, I fly back to the UK. I'll be in the UK on the Sunday until the Friday. Then I will be back in Florida from Friday until Friday. Then I'm in Costa Rica. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll be back in Florida. Then I'll be in Florida Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then I'll be flying to Toronto, and I'll be in Toronto Thursday, Friday, Saturday, getting back to Florida then on the Sunday. So my point is that I've traveled non-stop this year, but I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting out to as many countries throughout the Middle East during the rest of 2019 and definitely in 2020. And as I said, I love my work. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I'm very, very passionate of sharing my knowledge and experiences with everyone around the world. So anyway, guys and girls, I wish you all the very best with your celebrations and or your respect towards Ramadan. Embrace it, okay, because it's there to be embraced. It creates and forces us to realize that in life, not everybody has the ability to eat food to the point that we as individuals normally do, especially in our industry. If we actually look at us in our industry, in bodybuilding and health and fitness, everything is relatable about food quantities, food bioavailability, food frequency, okay? All of these things go hand in hand, and obviously do not neglect your water. But these things I've just spoken about, they're key for us to maximize and optimize our hormone responses and build muscle or increase our performances, whatever that sport is. But there are a lot of people in this world, unfortunately, which don't have food and they don't have water. So I understand why you show your mark of respect for those people which are actually in a lesser and unfairer environment that we, for most of us in the world, are in. Anyway, I'm out of here. I appreciate it, guys and girls. I will check in with you guys and girls, as I said, in 1 or 2 days' time again, and I'm going to obviously speak about Ramadan and also some other ideas and tips on how you can actually implement certain eating habits throughout the hours of eating to hold on to that muscle tissue, lose potential body fat, and not gain body fat. There is no reason for you to be gaining body fat whilst you're going through Ramadan unless you're not eating correctly. Okay, do not neglect your food. Make sure you maximize those hours. It is going to be hard for the first 3 to 5 days because it's going to be very new to your body. But within about 5 days, maybe 7 at the most, your body will actually get very used to it. And as long as your food choices and frequency and your water and your essential minerals and vitamins are in line with your now new lifestyle habits, meaning obviously the eating hours, you'll probably feel very, very good for it. You'll actually feel that your body potentially could be very alert, okay? Anyway, I'm Harry here, Neil Hill. Catch you guys and girls tomorrow. Good night.